In exchange for your life, I shall become your god. Holy shit, dude. Eto! Holy fucking shit, wrecked that dialogue. I have straight chills right now. Goosebumps. What ISHIDA did with this first scene. Oh my god, I haven't been this hype in a minute for Tokyo. I have not been this hype in a minute, dude. What you need is an apple. Knowledge. Power. In exchange for your life, I shall become your god. That fucking panel, dude. Are you kidding me? The way that she toys with KANAE in this scene. The sadistic side of her persona. Just twisted, warped. Just subtle hints at where her psyche is at. What her endgame is at. Lots of little bits of setup and foreshadowing. A plethora of theories that I want to dive into right now, dude. This first scene is go. Amazing. There hasn't been a scene that I've wanted to read dialogue bubble by dialogue bubble in the review. And rest assured, that's what we're gonna fucking do. Okay? Since Sato in the auction. Trip. Since the auction chapters, which were the inception of me switching to this page-by-page review style that so many of you say that you enjoy. Holy shit, dude. The symbolism, the foreshadowing, the setup, the dialogue, the artwork. It was pristine. And here's the thing. It's not to say that the chapter as a whole isn't hype and that there's not a lot of depth to the rest of the chapter. But these first 9 pages have been the most hype I've been in a little while reading Tokyo Ghoul. Just no lie. Straight up. Because Eto is a character that intrigues me. My mind is wrapped around this character and trying to parse out her psyche so heavily right now that I don't even know what to do with myself. Because, let's be honest, the chapter had its high moments outside of this. The Q's fucking mask, looking real. SAIKO'S mask, okay? What Uta did with SAIKO'S mask is genius, and my boy Shiraz is probably my second favorite with that fucking Oyasumi punpun mask. It's straight up punpun. Nobody can tell me that that's not punpun, but it's looking beast, okay? And Urie's mask looks nice too. My least favorite is Mutsuki's, but that's neither here nor there. It's not a bad design, okay? And then of course, Sasaki's got the revamp of the eye patch Kaneki mask. So much build-up, so much setup with the wards and everything in that scene with the information the Q's have been gathering. You have the point to where, you know, Sasaki has stumbled upon Amon's reports and now has this key to unlocking the knowledge in his past. He's about to go see the man himself, Donato, up in Cochlea and get some more information. You have that ending with KANOU and fucking Naki. Who knows what the fuck kind of plan the man has with his suit game over 100. How you gonna have the fucking button-down shirt with the same pattern as the jacket, blended perfectly? Perfect. The suit game is too. Yo, KANOU, where'd you get that suit with the fan and what? Yo, the artwork in this chapter, ISHIDA going in. Let's go. Let's just fucking go. Page 1. I have too much I want to talk about, and I want to get it in succinctly. I want to get it in fast because I'm still not feeling 100%. I don't want this review to be as long as yesterday, but there's so much in this chapter. The dialogue, we're going dialogue bubble by dialogue bubble straight up for these first 9 pages because it's necessary. We're going to pause to just discuss what I need to discuss, right? Starts off, KANAE, just who are you? Bandages, when did it get here? Okay? A ghoul, no, this unusual smell. Which is it? Right there, from the beginning, the very nature of Eto being half ghoul, half human, being a true one-eye. And this is something that you need to keep in mind for this discussion, and something that I feel like a lot of us have kind of forgotten, not so much forgotten about, but never readily keep in consideration. The fact that Eto, and coming off of Chibi's theory crafting in his chapter 42 review, which I'm going to be referring to that heavily. If you have not seen that review, you need to watch it because I don't feel like restating everything he stated. It was a long discussion. I love his theory. But anyway, I digress. It's very apt to keep in mind that Eto is a true one-eye, whereas everybody else is an artificial one-eye. Okay? So I have to say there, can't distinguish between it. Is this guy and Eto? This is the crazy part. You see how keen she is truly, because I know she's not reading the man's mind, it's the very fact that she can preempt the entirety of this man's persona. She's so good at putting a finger on an individual and moving them to her whim that it's like nothing to her. She eats the apple, which 100% confirms that Eto can eat human food as well as, eat, human beings and cannibalize ghouls and the like. She can eat anything that she fucking desires, okay? She eats the apple. Fucking confirmation. And you could say that it would be along the lines of, someone like Toka forcing herself to eat Yoriko's food and as well keep trying to keep it down, whereas not actually stomaching it. No, this is that confirmation. She's trying to fuck with the man. Said Kanye's looking at her eating the apple like, what the fuck? I'll give you an apple if you're right. From that moment, dude, Kanye's like, just what are you trying to pull off? Some sort of ridiculous performance? You're the sole survivor of the Rosenwald family, aren't you? Kanye's like, how much does this thing know? He's like, you're shady. Tries to go in, dude. Just launches the Rinkaku. So just two of them straight at her. Much larger than the ones we've seen him implement from the start, right? Eto dodges it. Like, if you think about the choreography from this panel over to the next one on page 4. Dodges is like it's nothing, cackling into the night, and just appears with her hands on her face in front of the man. Who's eating who up? Would I be able to finish all of you? And then this is where we have to stop. This is where we have to stop, and we have to start going in because she launches this hideous looking Kagune with arms protruding, various faces, all of which are speaking and seem to have a semblance of sentience, and are speaking as though, while they're not at the most refined persona, at least have their own sense of individual will, simply because they're contradicting one another, while one saying, kill him, finish him, eat him, the other one saying, no, not yet, okay? This fucking crazy advanced Kagune appendage, which, based on Eto's explanation a couple pages, past this, where basically like a Kagune is determined by, the user's creativity and intelligence. The shape of the Kagune is determined by those two things. We know Eto has an Ukkaku, okay? She has no Rinkaku. She solely has the Ukkaku, and then everything else on top of that is a result of her manipulating her Kakuja. This is no exception. She manipulates her Kagune via the Kakuja appendages. The very fact that she has, upwards of 6 kakuhou, which has been confirmed ever since part 1. The very fact that she has that also must have a hand to play. Plus, she says, the size of a Kagune and everything like that is determined on the RC cell concentration and the quality. And that dialogue right there made me think back to the consanguineous breeding of the Tsukiyama family, their inbreeding and everything like that. And I looked back at it, and just to clarify, because I remember I was under the impression that Tsukiyama could potentially become half Kakuja. What Master Mirumo was saying with that statement was solely that because of this mutation of their inbreeding, they cannot actually have this reaction to cannibalizing ghouls, and they can't become Kakuja, is what I think they were trying to explain. But I digress. Let's look at this thing for a second, okay? Because there's a lot of speculation going on right now. There's a lot of stuff. You got a couple of hands. It's straight up. Some of the appendages look straight up like a much larger version of, the ROS Kagune that formed on Haru's face last chapter. Shirazu's younger sister. You've got small hands, large hands, various shapes. Definitely looks like an Ukkaku in terms of the way it's branching out. The one on the far right, screaming Yahoo with that mouth. Many people have already pointed it out. I saw it as soon as I read the chapter. I saw it and I was like, what could be the implications of this? Straight up looks like the mouth on Noro's mask, okay? And here's the thing. A lot of people are speculating right now. And then you have the one on the shoulder that looks kind of like straight up like her father's, Kakuja mask. We had one on her arm on the next page that looks like her Kakuja mask, and various other, kind of visages and stuff that are blended in there, right? But the Noro thing right now, let's stick with the Noro thing and then kind of theory craft as to what Eto is doing right here, okay? First of all, a lot of people are saying that Noro is a detachable part, a detachable Kagune that Eto branched off since Eto's Kagune can apparently speak with this advanced Kagune she's crafted, it's not far-fetched that, Noro could be a sentient life form while detached and move according to base commands that Eto has prescribed. Maybe the sole command is like, abide by Tatara's will, or something like that, okay? I don't think this theory is far-fetched, and I can honestly see it happening. It would disappoint me a little bit simply because Noro is this presence that his existence to me, the very fact that he was unfazed going in against my 3 best boys of the entire series, Kaneki aside, okay? Fucking Renji, Uta, and Tsukiyama. Shoot. I always wanted to see what was behind that mask, ever since Rude 2, but that's neither here nor there, right? I've always believed there was just a semblance of something behind this. There was an actual person there. But it's not far-fetched to say that he is a detachable Kagune simply because he has no persona. He has no sense of self. He's this enigmatic figure that seems to move solely on command. The way that he looks, the way that he's been, his shape-shifting abilities, his regenerative abilities, the fact that he hasn't used a Kagune outside of shifting his body around and, alternating his visage, it all goes to the fact that he very well could be a part of Eto in that way. And what if, when they rejoin, Eto gets a portion of her strength back that she's locked away just to Noro, separately? What if her persona changes? What if these have, some sort of influence on her psyche? And I think that, personally, the way I want to go with this is that it's almost just a complete spawn of her creativity, or there might be something more to it, which I'm going to jump into in a second. But I don't think it's that far-fetched for Noro to be, a detachable Kagune, part of this advanced, Ukaku-looking Kagune that Eto has here, okay? So, there was that. I want to know why these things are speaking. These are just a couple of thoughts that came to my mind as to what is going on here. Maybe the ghouls that Eto has cannibalized in the past, as a Kagune, she can tap in to their persona or something like that, or they've become a part of her in a certain sense, and she can access that, and they are represented in these portions of this Kagune that we see here that have, some sort of voice. So that shit could be one possibility as to how that goes. For as far as I'm concerned, she could have cannibalized them. They could become part of her psyche. Maybe the mouth that we see here, if that was the case, she cannibalized Noro in the past. Because of his regenerative abilities, he survived it, and then she recruited him after that fact. And now he exists as part of it in some shape or form. Or it's the opposite, and he branched off of her completely. Who knows? Who knows whether... I still think that could be a way to describe it, but ultimately, I think it boils down to Eto's nature, and the very fact that she's continually creating. And I think that these kinds of personas, these kind of sentient life forms that are a part of this Kagune may very well just be part of her creative capacity and her mentality and just fun for her, dude. Maybe it provides her company. Maybe it's a pseudo-family or a presence that, comforts her in some way, shape, or form. Who the fuck knows, dude? I don't know exactly the root of this fucking shit right here. And we're about to leave this page. But it's fucking crazy, okay? You see them dead, taste bad. That's right. Kane's getting fucked up. It really makes no difference to me, to be completely honest, right? Eto asks, filled up yet? It detaches, pins him to the wall. One on the one side, the one that has the face similar to her Kakuja mask, is like, kill him. Then the one on the back side is like, not yet, not yet. The other one's like, get him. So clearly they have kind of deviating personas in one way. It doesn't seem like they're too, fully developed or anything like that. It doesn't seem like they're too intelligent, but they're at least sentient to some level, okay? Kane's like, what the fuck is this? Is that a Kagune? That's exactly what I was thinking the first time I read through this, okay? I was like, what the fuck is this right now? Why is it talking? What the fuck? And then this explanation. A Kagune size is determined by the quality and quantity of your RC cells, and a Kagune shape is determined by your creativity and intelligence. The gap between our abilities is as clear as day. And Kane's like, the one-eyed. Yes. Dude, this is when the dialogue goes next level for me. Kane, I'm sure you've read the book of Genesis, right? And Kane is just so out of it right now. He's like, I like it. Apples are the fruit of knowledge. Some say it's the forbidden fruit. But why did God put a tree of knowledge in the Garden of Eden? Hey, don't you think that's very malignant? It's like saying, come, eat. Dude, this symbolism setting up with the book of Genesis, the Garden of Eden. All I can say right now is playing off of Chibi's theory from last chapter, because I have to continue to say this. Chibi's theory is not my theory, and I have to give credit where credit's due, but I do want to implement it. So, and I don't want to restate it, so you have to fucking watch the video if you want to understand what I'm saying. But playing off of that, this could be heavy symbolism towards that goal and towards that endgame of what KANOU and Eto would be trying to be doing with the ultimate evolution and this new species and breaking through. And then it goes into the dialogue that I'm just utterly ecstatic about. Okay, let's just read it. Let's just fucking read it and just all sit back and realize how profound it is and how beast ISHIDA's writing is right now and how she's fleshing out this character. Because Eto, the way she's toying with his mind and manipulating him, I haven't seen anything, like I said, since she sliced off Juzo's leg and was like, oh, now you guys match, dude. I was just like, I forgot how fucking warped and sadistic Eto truly is, dude. God, what are you saying? I'm simply interested in what you're thinking. And this, to me, makes me believe that Eto didn't actually eat KANAE at the end of this. Unless my theory is, my brief thought on the Ghoul she cannibalizes being a part of her and strengthening her like that and being a part of this weird Kagune is sound, which it's just something I threw out there. I don't really believe in that wholeheartedly. I believe more in the Noro being detached from it than anything else. But I digress. She's like, I'm interested in what you're thinking, which clearly means that Eto's purpose with KANAE doesn't involve simply killing him off. She wants to manipulate and play off his emotions and play with his mind, as we clearly see in this dialogue. But we also get little traces of Eto's persona and her psyche and where her mentality is at. My God is not an almighty father, but rather a kid with an absurd amount of power. Dude, because you know, aren't there too many problems in this world? For example, if you do as your master wants, you can't fulfill your own wishes. A failure like you. And she's just completely exposing KANAE at this point. Sure, because all the thoughts, if you have been watching my TG reviews, every single thing I've said about KANAE's idealization of Shu and the moves he was making to go after the Qs, I said everything Eto is verbalizing and trying to make KANAE admit at this stage. He's obsessed with the ideal of Shu, he's obsessed with what he wants him to be, and he doesn't want anybody getting in the way of what he has with him. Anybody. Even if that means it's his happiness. It's the same as what I said last chapter of Shu's love for Kaneki, kind of teetering along the lines of, yeah, at this stage anyway, teetering along the lines of KANAE's love for him, in that it's more in service of himself and his own ego than it even is for his master, okay? The reason you're targeting the Qs is not for your master, but to make Heisei Sasaki suffer. Am I right? Every night, even after giving it all, you couldn't pull your master together, but then just one person, the wreckage known as Heisei Sasaki, showed up and pop. Back came his spirits. Not funny. That's why you're pretending it's for your master. Stealing what's important to Heisei Sasaki, making him suffer, imagining the despair he'll experience and enjoying it. Enjoy? Me? That way of thinking? You aren't sympathizing with your master at all. By nature, you should be happy when he's happy, right? But honestly, you just want to kill Heisei. You don't really wish for your master's recovery. And then she points out that he was happy with the kind of heyday that he was in, where it's basically like spending his days, even though Shu was weakened, at least it was him by his master's side and everything like that, completely paying off his emotions and how fragile his relationship with his psyche is as far as Shu is concerned right now. Ultimately all to the end of whatever she wants to do with KANAE did. You have no obligation to love someone who doesn't love you back. Destroy it. Master Shu is just what he keeps chanting himself. He doesn't see you. My loyalty is just a craving wish for domination. Dude, you hate being alone. Eto at this point is utterly overriding any sort of, the grasping that KANAE is trying to do for the ideals that he's built for himself. She's utterly debasing it, destroying it, and grafting a new image of what she knows is at the heart, the darkness that lurks in this man's heart, and making it bringing it to the surface level, and writing it upon it herself, dude. That's just fucking insane. I fucking love this girl, dude. She's crazy. Sentaka to keep the winner, right? And then my favorite quote, like one of my favorite quotes in Re so far. Like there's been a couple of them. This is probably top 10. All right. In exchange for your life, I shall become your god. And then the bottom panel, all black. The fucking text on the side is the bite sound effect. I don't know. You see in the panel above, she's holding the apple with these twisted tendrils, which is probably, you know, another of the uses of her Kakuja Kagune. I'm just going to call it Kakuja Kagune for now, because that's just simply what it is. It's manipulation of, you know, the Kakuja Kagune that she has in various ways, all according to her will. I don't know what the personas are or what the deal is with these sentient kind of talking portions of the Kagune. Noro definitely being, you know, a detachable portion of it is viable to me. It definitely is. Do I want it? No, not necessarily. I mean, half of me does, half of me doesn't, simply because it ruins the kind of enigmatic nature of Noro, if that's true. Even though it would be a crazy reveal if it's confirmed, it still kind of ruins the mystery of who this fiend is and how he's so fucking beast. Okay? But I still see that as being very likely. The thing about, you know, being the persona of people that have previously been cannibalized, not so much. I'm not so sure about that. But this whole symbolism, the build-up with the Garden of Eden and the Book of Genesis, you know, this discussion of religion and what God means and who God is. And what if Eto ate KANAE at this stage, what would that mean? Unless, like I said, that theory about her, you know, absorbing people is correct. I doubt that very much. I don't know what she wants to use KANAE for. I think the biting had something to do with the apple. I don't know what her endgame is as far as KANAE is concerned. But I picture, after seeing this scene, Eto's interest in KANAE is not so much far off from her interest in various other members of Aogiri that she already has. And for a lot of them, we don't know the first encounter that they had with Eto, that they had with Ao, and when things were constructed. If you assume that Eto was One-Eyed King, which has pretty much been confirmed since part 1. I never thought of Ao and One-Eyed King as a separate person since the Aogiri arc, the first time I read it in part 1, like, over a year ago, okay? So, but if it is, and it's not a fucking shonen, so I doubt they would have that, like, this other person that's just even above Eto. It's not happening. It's not happening. They are one and the same. But I digress. I see this as that moment where she ropes KANAE into Aogiri. Ultimately, no matter what her purpose is in bringing him in there, she's going to use him. So let's just cut off. I spent 20 fucking minutes talking about that first scene. Let's talk about the rest of the chapter and move on, because there's still so much I want to talk about that, but we're just gonna table it for now. I might do a little wrap up at the end. All right. Then we see the masks just looking beast. Let's analyze the mask. Okay. Fucking SAIKO'S mask looks very similar to the mask Hanami was rocking during the auction. I love the design. By far my favorite. You got these kind of two cartoony looking eyes, the arc, the golden, the way that it would look colored, dude. Fucking beast, okay? Urie's is on that level. It's a very similar style of mask. It kind of has that kind of knight helmet look to it with the kind of connected pieces from the bottom to the top. Kind of has this falcon beak kind of stroking. It is beast. I'm not gonna lie. I really like that as well. And Shirazu's is dope. It's straight up punpun, but it's fucking dope. Especially with the haircut. I think it works with the haircut, alright? Mutsuki's is simply, it's like a broke version of Kaneki's mask, the eye patch mask, just reversed. More kind of medical bandage-esque, kind of with the stitches on the mouth. It's kind of reminding me of the dude that attacked Psycho a couple of chapters, that ghoul that attacked Psycho a couple of chapters back. I'm not really feeling it that much, but it's still a dope mask, okay? Which it does no wrong. And then, of course, Kaneki with the revamp and everything. And this part of the chapter, there's quite a bit of information. So we find out that, you know, they split into two groups. Basically, the fucking OTPs of the Qs. You know, you got Shirazu and Psycho. You got Urie and Mitsuki. They base it off of the smell and, you know, how Urie had greater, and Psycho have greater smell than anybody else. So they had to split it up like that so they could track and do everything like that, right? The information that Psycho and Shirazu gather, specifically about the wards and everything like that, the hunting grounds in the 8th ward, is fucking crazy. And seeing Psycho like this, dude, just straight up playing and manipulating, like Shirazu's completely useless in this scenario. Psycho's doing everything, dude. He's like, we're ghouls from the 1st ward. You know, have their own community. Basically, like putting a tree in the forest if you want to hide it, dude. I'm just like, Psycho, just easily playing them right now. I'm like, dude, this is why I love this girl. This is why I fucking love this girl. Even Shirazu's like, Psycho? Is that you, right? But I digress. Basically, what I want to get to, I don't even want to get into any of this information, them posing to be from the 1st ward, and them talking about the state of how the doves have more control of the 1st ward and the various wards that Aogiri controls, etc., etc. I like this dialogue about the boss in the 8th ward is a very cautious person, because I'm curious as to who the current boss of the 8th ward actually is at this stage. I'm curious about the boss of the 6th ward as well, but the 8th ward in particular, I believe in the past, 8th ward is the ward that was under No Face's control. I believe this is that ward from long ago that Uo took control. But if it's not this one, I don't remember who had this in the past. I know 6th ward was Shachi shit in the past, and they say this here. So that's not here nor there. But we get the breakdown. Not every ward is on this map, which kind of annoys me. They don't do the boards 100%, but we still, I love seeing fucking maps in TG and seeing the ward breakdown, how the state of everything at this point. We hear the 21st and 22nd wards are in extreme turmoil, you know, fighting over leadership positions and everything like that. We find out that the 18th ward is under the control of Triple Blades. And I believe that it was stated earlier that Triple Blades Misa controlled the 18th ward before she actually became a part of Aogiri. So indirectly, the 18th ward belongs to Aogiri as well at this point. So, and we know they have the 11th ward unlocked, but, or did at least anyway. Now it's just a fucking lawless zone. But I digress, right? Not a lot, we don't get to hear anything about the 20th ward, which is, you know, our main old school throwback ward, whatever. We find out that, you know, Shachi's old ward, 6th ward, is now under the control of someone else calling the shots, is what they say. I have no idea who that person could be, dude. I'm really curious. More so than who is controlling 8th ward right now, I want to know who the fuck is controlling the 6th ward, dude. What if it's fucking Banjo or something like that? Because I believe that the ward that they went to, it was either 8th ward or 6th ward. The ward that Kaneki and his little group with Hanami and Banjo and Tsukiyama went to post, you know, the Aogiri arc and everything, like when they were going around cleaning up the gourmet clubs and everything, they were in either the 8th or 6th ward, dude. So I'm really curious, what if Banjo stayed behind the 6th ward and became the boss of the territory somehow? We already knew he ran the 11th ward back in the day before Aogiri encroached upon the shit and whatnot. So I don't know. It might not be him in any regard, but I'm curious to see, just because the 8th and the 6th ward have so much history to them, I'm curious to see who's fucking calling the shots right now. But other than that, we get that breakdown. That whole map was very interesting to me, right? And then Sasaki's main takeaway from this is the 18th ward is Triple Blaze territory. We can run into a member of Aogiri there, basically. On the other hand, you know, Musuki and Ure don't really find that much, simply because everybody in the ward and the 8th ward at this point is on high alert. Or I say in the 6th ward is on high alert or whatever. Ever since the whole Rose incident, we know a lot of the Rose Waltz are lurking around there in the 6th ward, and as they said, you know, the battle with Kojima was there a couple days prior, which I don't know what they fucking mean by a couple days prior when they said there was a 2-week time skip, but whatever. I digress. And then something about obtaining critical intel, establishing the fact that we're ghouls, blah blah. I don't care about it. This dialogue is neither here nor there. The Perondo's paradox line, dude, is actually, I like that setup, but it's not. That's also not necessary to dive into. But this fucking portion at the bottom of the page with Saiko, dude, where she's like, "Why do I feel like the ghouls we talk about are the good guys?" This is why I fucking love. This is why Saiko's the best, dude. Like, her face, the genuine concern, that question, the overarching, lingering question. You know, we've getting hints of it in the most recent chapters, as far as, you know, with Shirazu's, you know, insight in his backstory and how he feels at this moment, what the words Fura said to him, you know, Sasaki's general persona and his whole quest and what his existence means, is bridging the gap ultimately between ghoul and human, and realizing that ultimately these are people. This is life, just like anybody else, and this is what they need to do to survive at this stage. It's just fundamentally like that, dude. So to see that question from Saiko herself, and Ure just shuts down, like, it doesn't even matter. Don't forget our fucking position. I still like them. I like ISHIDA throwing that in there, and of course they ask Sasaki how he's doing, and the man, we know he's lying, puts his hand on his chin. Classic tell. He's like, not doing too well. And it's not like there's any mystery as to what he's hiding from them, because we find out about it on the exact bottom of this page. It's basically the fact that he's not trying to tell them that he had a dual purpose with this operation all along. He wanted to have this operation, yes, to get information, but also to wear the eye patch mask so that he could go around and potentially find insight into Kaneki and his past and everything like that. And he already gets it, which is crazy to me that he confronts these ghouls, and they're like, the eye patch ghoul, what the fuck, and they're running off from the man. It's been over 3 years, it's been almost 4 years since Kaneki was going around and had that presence as the eye patch ghoul. And yet people are still running. This is a completely different ward than where he's lurking in to begin with. And they still remember this man. That just shows you the impact. And here's the thing that's crazy, dude. When he's looking through the library, he finds Amon's documents. And you see the whole report that he had, basically detailing all the encounters that he had with Kaneki in part 1. this fucking artwork, dude. You have this picture of Kaneki with his arms just outspread, looking like a god. Black hair Kaneki. I'm like, yo, Amon, you made this man look like a monster in your report. Because if you think about the first encounter that he's detailing right here and everything like that, when you think about the first encounter, back when it happened in, I believe it was around, whenever Mato died, right? Kaneki outstretched his arms like that, and he was basically trying to tell them, he was trying to bait him. He was like, I remember the dialogue clearly in my head where he was just like, oh, you think you can hit me or something like that, trying to bait him so he could get the upper hand. In that fight, Kaneki didn't really want to fight, and he was forced into it by Amon, right? So, to see, he was much more cowardly in that encounter than what this drawing makes it seem. It's just really, I just thought it was crazy, dude, to see the look of it. I was like, yo, they made him look like a monster, dude. And then he reads the encounters that he had with Amon in the past, basically like that, right? And you see the breakdown start to happen, where he kind of goes back into the checkered room in his mind. He sees young white hair, and you see him agonizing and remorseful over the fact that he believes truly that he killed Amon in that final confrontation, even though we fucking know Amon's alive. And once he goes back to talk to Donato right now, Donato's gonna bring up, you know, the very fact he's gonna bring up Floppy once again, the ghoul that he gave him a little bit of information about in the past, probably gonna tell him that he knew it was Amon to begin with, and we're gonna dive into it from there. Or he's just gonna go into his backstory with Amon and what happened with them in the past. But either way, I know that the person that Sasaki is going to go talk to about this, because he's like, I should go ask him then, is going to be Donato, the priest himself, the man with all the information that I have no idea where the fuck he gets it from. And then, but that's pretty much that, right? Then we see Cordy, you know, kind of pass by Sasaki and notice something off about him in the hall. I don't know if he's going to do anything with that kind of suspicious feeling that he has at that moment, but it's really nothing to really play off of, right? And then we cut to Kano's lab amongst the owl chambers. We see him with this beast fan, this suit with the suit game. The man is a boss. I don't even like him like that. But dog, that shit is beast. And Naki with the slick back hair, he's like, you got something to say, Kano? A rare combination. Kano's plan is, next chapter, Aogiri makes a move. I really want to know how things coalesce with what Kano's trying to do with Naki right now, and why Eto brought in KANAE, and what Eto's trying to do with KANAE to begin with. Because for me, personally, the biggest part of this chapter, aside from, you know, kind of Sasaki getting that info about Amon and everything like that, and this ending page, it's all that fucking, that Eto scene is GOAT. It was one of the best things I've read in a minute in Tokyo Ghoul, just straight up. The questions it has me asking in terms of the nature of that weird-ass Kagune that we saw, what her endgame is, what the fuck is going on, the symbolism and the setup with the dialogue and everything like that, playing it off of Chibi's theory, like I said earlier. So much fucking depth. So much fucking depth, dude. And then the masks looking sexy. So that's pretty much it for this review. I think I'm done now. I think I don't want any. I'm good. I don't even have anything else to say. But let me know your thoughts, and I'm out. Peace.